It hasn't been a very good day or week for the Indian rupee. The Indian currency slipped to a two-month lows on the back of sharp decline in the Indian equity markets, ending the day at 62.66 on your screens there. Pramit Brahmbhatt, CEO, Alpari Financial Services, now joins us for this leg of the show. Pramit, hi, welcome to the show. What's your sense really on the Indian rupee, the way it has behaved? And there have been some reports of perhaps RBI intervention on the last few minutes before the trade ended.
Hi Manisha, I think the rupee as well as the other global currencies have ended the rally against dollar. What we have seen is a subdued trading sessions after Christmas and the New Year, where we didn't see much volume in the global market, and that has rallied against the dollar. Now the market is coming back to the terms where they are going to expect that further announcement of Fed tapering during the next week's FOMC. As well as the global market traders are back. So I think the dollar is going to get stronger globally, and we will see the effect will come in the rupee. We may see in coming weeks rupee can trade in the mid-63 range.
Vijay, how would you look at the currency? Because I remember you have been talking about these levels as well. Once it breaches perhaps a 62.5, 62.80 kind of levels, you are expecting further bearishness on charts.
Yes, Manisha, and considering the fact that today is a weekend session and the overseas currencies have been uniformly strong against the rupee right up to the last minute of trade, it's a fairly noticeable aspect. For example, it's been a fairly long time since I've seen the Japanese yen gaining 3% or 3.5% against the rupee, the euro gaining 2%, the pound gaining 1.5%, the dollar gaining 1.3%. And all of them have been uniformly strong right up to the closing minute of trade. And on a weekend, that's a very noticeable thing. I think what you are seeing is, like I mentioned a couple of days ago, that the overseas currencies had been subdued like a spring, and now that the compression power is gone, they're all leaping up by leaps and bounds. If you were to see the US dollar go past the 62.80 levels in the spot segment, which would be a slightly higher level in the futures because futures trade at premium, I think thereafter the dollar bulls will come back with serious strength.
Pramit, what's your sense perhaps from the RBI and the FOMC reading next week? Because ahead of that as well, this could be a move that we have seen coming in on a weekend. All right, we can't hear Pramit very clearly there, but Vijay, a similar question to you as well. I mean, as you were pointing out, we have seen that sudden spurt coming in for most of these currencies. We did see most of emerging market currencies, though, see a sell-off because of the Chinese weak data. Would you say that was in line with what rupee also did?
Yes, Manisha. Normally what really happens is these overseas funds normally tend to take a sector call. Now, they won't just take a pinpoint laser-sharp view on China without basically going underweight on the currency outlook for India, for Indonesia, for Malaysia, etc. It's normally a basket kind of a feeling. So it's not very surprising that if China is starting to show signs of cough, the Indian currency is showing signs of getting pneumonia.
Pramit, coming to you with that question then, how are you reacting or reading to the rupee moves ahead of the RBI and the FOMC meeting next week?
I think the global currency are due for correction, and we will see that the rupee will be affected much more than the other currencies, because we'll see some domestic effect will come into play as well, where today we have seen the equity market has weakened, and any move from RBI that can hamper the rupee weakness even further. So we will see that the rupee can be at the bad end of this dollar rally.
How have you seen the forex moves in the international markets ahead of the FOMC meeting? Because many markets are expecting the Fed to come out with yet another $10 billion of a cut. Do you have a similar view, and how would you look at the dollar index?
Is that to me, Manisha?
Yes, Pramit, that's to you.
Okay, what we have seen with the FOMC, that during the last FOMC and the first $10 billion cut, it was pretty much clear from the Fed governor that they're going to keep the pace at the same level, or they can adjust as per the changes in the economic condition. We have not seen any drastic change in the economic condition of US. Even though they had a bad weather condition during the December, the economic data is pretty much okay and in line. So we will see another $10 billion cuts coming in. Considering that, I think the market is now coming to the terms during the late session today, and maybe we will see in the Monday, Tuesday sessions as well, that the market is going to rally the dollar just before the FOMC. When we look at the rupee, I think the rupee is going to get the two side effect. One is the global markets are rallying the dollar, and we may not hear any good news coming from RBI in considering the Indian economy. So that can have a dual effect on rupee, and we can see a sharp decline in the rupee against the dollar.